I have 9 older siblings.
You have 9 older siblings, so you're the baby.
Yes.
Do all your siblings live in San Antonio?
No.
Okay.
I have 2 brothers who live in Germany, and I have 2 sisters and 1 brother who live in Canada. And I have 4 siblings who live here.
Have you also gotten to live all over, or have you lived your whole life here in San Antonio?
I've also got to live, I lived in Canada and Colorado.
How long have you been in San Antonio?
This time I've been here around 4 years, but my previous stay was about 5 to 6 years.
Do you recall what year it was that you moved back here?
It was the beginning of 2020.
The beginning of 2020?
It's around March.
How old were you when you moved back to San Antonio?
I was 14.
When you moved back to San Antonio, who were you living with?
I was living with my grandma. We were staying with my grandma.
Who all was staying there?
My cousin, my brother, and my parents, and one of my sisters,
Which sister?
Taylor Sharp,
And what's your brother's name?
Corey Scott, Erwin.
Is he older or younger than you?
He's older.
Because you said you were the baby, right? Who else was living in San Antonio that you were related to at that time?
My sister Circa.
How much older than you is Circa?
8 years.
So when you were 14, was she in her 20s?
Yes.
Who was she dating at the time?
Isaiah.
Do you see Isaiah in this courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
He's sitting there in a teal shirt.
Let the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant. How long had Circa and Isaiah been dating in 2020?
I can guess just a few years since I was in elementary.
How long had you known Isaiah?
Since I was 8.
You said when you were in elementary. Did he and Circa have any kids together?
Yes.
How many?
One.
Do you know when their child was born?
October of, I want to say, I don't know, 18, 19.
Okay, so fair to say they were a little toddler when you first moved back.
Yes.
What was your relationship with Circa and Isaiah like when you first moved back here?
It was good. It was open, normal.
What kind of stuff did you spend a lot of time together with them?
I spent a long time with Circa, yeah.
What did you guys do together?
I really just went over a lot to help my sister, but she had to study a lot, so I babysit, and my house was busy, so I like to be there.
How many people lived in Circa's house?
4.
Who all lived there?
Circa, Isaiah, his brother, and Nikolai.
How old was Isaiah's brother, if you know? Was he older or younger?
He's older.
How often would you go over to Circa and Isaiah's house?
I would go over at least once a week and stay a few days.
You would stay a few days, you said? Why would you stay a few days?
Me and my sister never got to spend time growing up, so.
And you said you babysat, right? Was your sister working at that time?
I believe so, yes.
Was she in school at that time?
I also believe so.
How were you ever at the house? Because I know you said you stayed several days. Were you ever at the house when Circa wasn't?
Yes.
How often?
Probably at least once or twice a week.
Would it be for short periods of time or long periods of time?
Like without Circa?
Yeah.
It's like an average shift, but never really more than that.
Whenever you were you home alone or were there other people in the home?
Isaiah's brother was pretty much always upstairs in his room, and sometimes my brother Corey would accompany me. And if no one else was there, it was just me and Nikolai.
Is Nikolai Circa and Isaiah's son?
Yes.
Were you ever there with Isaiah alone?
Yes.
How often?
Not very often at all.
How big? I know you described a second floor. How big was this house?
It's a fairly large house.
How many floors did it have?
It had 2 floors.
Do you remember how many bedrooms it had?
4 upstairs.
4 upstairs. Were there any downstairs bedrooms?
No, there was a bathroom and a garage and a dining room and a living room.
So kind of normal house stuff, and then all the bedrooms upstairs.
Yes.
Did you have a house? Or did you have a room there? Because I know you said you spent the night there. Did you have a room there?
No, I did not.
Where did you sleep when you spent the night?
I mostly slept in Circa's bed. On occasion when Isaiah was home from work, he would sleep in Circa's bed, so I would sleep in Isaiah's bed.
In Isaiah's room, or
Yes, in Isaiah's room.
How leading up to all of this, you said you had a good relationship with Circa. How was your relationship with Isaiah?
It was fairly good. There's nothing out of the ordinary.
Did you have a normal, like, kind of sibling relationship? Were you a little not very close? How close were you guys?
We would make jokes and stuff. I mean, we wouldn't like hang out, but we talked.
At any point, did that change?
Yes.
When is the first time that things between you and Isaiah changed that you can recall?
I had, since he was out on work, it was nighttime and he wasn't in the area, I guess. And I had posted a picture on Snapchat and I had him on Snapchat, like my whole family on Snapchat. And I was wearing a sweater that my sister told me I could wear. And I said like good night. And he slid up on my story and he like commented on it. And he said, "You look good in my jacket."
You said this was on Snapchat, correct?
Yes.
How long have you used Snapchat?
Since I was about like 12.
Tell us a little about Snapchat, kind of how does, not from like a technical standpoint, but from how you understand it, how does Snapchat work?
It it's like 24-hour messages. They don't stay if you don't want them to.
Okay, so if you don't want a message to stay longer, it'll go away after 24 hours.
Yes, it can go after 24 hours. In some cases, it can go away as soon as you swipe out of the chat.
Is that the same for the photos?
Yes. The photos, it's going to be, you could see them once, or twice, and then that's it. Unless you screenshot it.
So did you have kind of like a general setting to have your stuff go away, or is that anything you could control over?
It was just the general, it goes away right after you swipe out.
So you posted the photo, you said, and he commented. Were you wearing his sweater, or like what was that whole context of that?
That's what he told me in the comment, was that it was his sweater.
What was your reaction to that comment?
I was kind of confused, but I was not really thinking much of that in itself.
How old was Isaiah at that time?
I want to say 22, 23.
So he was older than you.
Yes.
And he was with your sister, who's, you said, 8 years older than you?
Yes.
What happened? What's the next thing that happened after that interaction?
I can't remember a lot of what happened after that.
When's the next time things were different between the two of you?
Well,
If you can recall the order.
I can't really recall the order. I can't remember.
What is one thing that you do remember happening after that?
He he would buy me pods for my vape that I had.
Did you ask him to, or was he just
Yeah,
doing that for
it
you?
was something, yeah, like asking.
Did he ask for anything in exchange for those, or is he just giving that to you?
Well, sometimes you'd get them like because I asked, and sometimes when I was going to his house, he'd get them like on the way there.
When's the first time that things became sexual between the two of you?
Um, it was I'm pretty sure it was that night he had come home after those messages.
After he sent you the message about the sweater?
Yeah, it was like late.
What happened when he came home?
Um, I was sitting on the couch downstairs, and he came in, and he went upstairs, and I think he showered, and he changed his clothes. And he came downstairs in basketball shorts and nothing else. And I was watching a movie, and he sat down next to me, and he started touching my bottom, and I was I said I was nervous, and he said just watch the TV.
Go
And
ahead and stop you a little, Ava, okay? So you can take a breath. Do you recall how late at night this was?
no,
Was Circa home?
yes,
Where was Circa?
she was in her room.
Do you know if she was awake or asleep, or do you just know she was in her room?
I just know she was in her room.
How long had she been up there, if you recall?
A few hours.
And where was their son?
I think he was asleep. I'm not sure.
And do you know if Isaiah's brother was there?
I'm not sure.
So you had been downstairs by yourself.
Yes.
So when you said that he came and sat with you on the couch, how were you sitting? Were you sitting with your feet on the floor? Like, do you recall your body position?
Yeah, just upright, like at a chair. My feet were on the floor
And where did he come sit next to you?
on my left side.
Did he say anything when he first walked in?
I don't remember.
What happened after that? After he came and sat down next to you?
I was like shaking. I was like uncontrollably shaking, and I just stared at the TV, and he just was touching me
Where was he touching you?
on my boobs and my butt.
Was this over the clothes or under the clothes?
Over.
Did you say anything?
I said I was nervous. Was it nervous?
What was going through your mind? Like, how were you feeling when this was happening?
I was wondering why I couldn't stop shaking.
What happened? Did he do anything else other than touch your breasts and your butt that night?
Yes.
What else did he do?
Um, we had oral sex in the dining room.
How did that happen? Did you go with him into the dining room? How did you guys make it to the dining room?
He told me, let's move to the dining room. So
What happened?
I followed him.
What happened when you got to the dining room?
He was holding me and he was kissing me, and then he pulled his pants down and he asked. And I went down, and then
When he pulled his pants down, did you see his penis?
yes,
What did it look like? Like what was its state when he pulled it down?
It was hard.
And do you remember the words he used to ask you?
No,
But he did ask you to perform oral on him.
I believe so.
Did you?
Yes.
About how long did that last?
I don't know.
Do you think it was minutes, seconds?
Probably minutes.
Did anything happen to his penis while you were performing oral sex on him?
Yeah.
What happened to his penis?
He came
And where did he come on you?
in my mouth.
How did you react to that?
I gagged. And I had to spit it out.
Had he ever done anything like this to you before?
No.
Sorry, had he ever done anything like this to you before? What happened after you spit into the paper towel, Ava?
He was in the bathroom cleaning himself up, and then he went upstairs, went to sleep.
What did you do? Why did you finish your movie, Ava?
And what else?
Did you tell anyone that night what had happened?
Not that night.
Why didn't you say anything that night?
I didn't really know what happened.
Did anything else happen between you guys another time?
Yes.
Did Isaiah talk to you about what had happened that night? Did he comment on it, or did things just go on as normal?
I don't remember. I don't think we talked about it after.
How did you guys communicate, you and Isaiah?
Through Snapchat or Instagram.
What's the next thing that happened between you guys that was sexual in nature?
We went on a beach trip.
When you say we, who's we?
It was my sister Circa, Nikolai, me, Corey, and Taylor. And then it was Isaiah and his brothers.
Where did you guys go?
I
If you remember.
think it was Port A, but I'm not 100% sure.
What's the next time something happened to you in San Antonio? Or just what is another thing that happened between you guys that was sexual in San Antonio?
I guess just that happened a few times in the dining room, and then after I turned 15, it was not oral anymore. It was actual.
It was actual, okay. So you're saying that you performed oral sex on Isaiah a few more times after that first time.
Yes.
That was when you were 14?
Yes.
That's still in 2020, still in the same year.
I believe so.
So when you said that after you turned 15, it became actual, what do you mean by actual?
Vaginal intercourse. Vaginal intercourse.
How many times would you say that you guys had vaginal intercourse?
I don't know.
Where Was it more than once?
Yes.
And was it at the house he shared with Circa?
Yes.
And that's here in San Antonio, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you had intercourse with Isaiah?
It was at the beach.
Down in Port Aransas, or do you think Port Aransas? And then after that, it was here in San Antonio.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you had sex here in San Antonio?
I don't know.
Where would you guys have intercourse?
Sometimes in the bathroom and sometimes in Circa's room.
And did Circus share that room with Isaiah?
No.
They had separate bedrooms.
Yes.
Did you ever have sex in Isaiah's room?
I don't think so.
Mostly just the bathroom and Circus room, you believe.
Yes.
What were your kind of feelings about all of this going on? You were saying you're 14, 15. Were you wanting to hook up with Isaiah?
The attention was flattering.
What grade were you in, Anna? If you recall.
I was in 9th or 10th grade.
Were you able to go to school in person, or were you having to do it online at that time?
I did online at the time.
So this all started happening during COVID, correct?
Yes.
What was your relationship like with Circa at this point? Were you guys still getting along, or was this affecting your relationship?
We were still getting along.
What about your parents? Were you and your parents getting along?
Oh yeah, everything was fine.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
Let's see, one. Do you recognize who is in this photo?
Yes.
Who's in this photo?
Me?
And is this taken from about that time period?
Yes.
And is this a fair and accurate representation of what you looked like back in 2020?
Yes.
Okay, tender State's Exhibit 1 over to defense, pending any objection. No objection.
All right. State's Exhibit number 1 is admitted without objection.
Information to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
So Anna, State's Exhibit number 1, this is what you looked like back then. 14, 15-year-old you, correct?
Yes.
You said a moment ago that the attention was nice, correct?
Yes.
Did you feel any sort of guilt or anything knowing this was Circa's boyfriend?
I felt guilt for more than Circa. For their child.
Did you ever tell anybody what was going on?
Yes.
Who did you tell?
I told my best friend who lives in Canada.
When did you, what's her name?
Cassie.
How long have you and Cassie been friends?
We've been friends since 2018.
But she's kind of your best friend, correct?
Yes.
And is Cassie older or younger than you?
She's older.
Do you know how old she is?
Currently, she's 20 years old.
But you were telling her about this with everything on. How did you ever intend to tell your family or anything? Like, what were you wanting to see happen with this whole situation with Isaiah?
I'm not sure. I didn't know when or if it was gonna end. And
Did you want it to stop or were you okay with it? What was happening at the time?
after the first time, I realized it made me feel really bad. And I didn't want to continue
Why didn't you say anything?
because I was scared of
What were you scared of, Ava?
being hurt or, or being called a liar or just being blamed for the whole thing.
You thought you might be blamed for everything? After you guys started having a sexual relationship, did you ever exchange any sort of inappropriate texts or messages like that?
Yeah.
How did you primarily exchange these types of messages?
Um,
Like, which apps did you use to talk the most?
Instagram and Snapchat.
At some point, did all of this come out?
Yes.
Had he ever sent, what kinds of inappropriate messages would he send you on Snapchat or Instagram?
He'd say that he couldn't wait to be home and that he wishes that I could move in so that I could always be around. And he'd ask for pictures and he'd send me screenshots of the pictures as his wallpaper while he's away on work.
What kind of pictures would he ask for?
Explicit ones.
Did you send those on Snapchat or Insta? How did you send those?
Mostly Snapchat because it erases.
Were you scared of this all coming out?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Yeah, Ava. I'm sure you what's marked. That's exhibit number 2. I'm gonna move your drink a little, okay? You want to flip through this. Do you recognize what's in these photos?
Yes.
What are these photos of?
Instagram messages between me and Isaiah.
And how do you know that these are between you and Isaiah?
Because I was texting.
And you remember him saying these things to you and responding to them. And these are messages that, do you know where these photos were taken from? If they were from your phone, your computer, do you know who took those photos?
My mom.
Your mom did. Your Honor, we're gonna offer this exhibit number 2.
Your Honor, may I take the witness on for daughter?
Yes.
Ava, my name's Jessica Gonzalez. I'm gonna ask you some questions concerning these pictures. If you do not understand my questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to rephrase, okay?
Yes.
All right. So how is it that you know, well, actually, let's go ahead and start. These are not, these, State's Exhibit 2, these are not screenshots of your Instagram account, are they?
No.
No. These are actually your Instagram account pulled up on a screen, on a computer screen, correct?
Yes.
Do you know when the account was opened up and these pictures were taken?
No.
Okay. And actually, Circa took these pictures, didn't she?
I don't know.
Now, do you know how these pictures were given to the state of Texas and gotten and received into evidence?
No,
Do you know anything about the metadata of these pictures or
No.
any of that information?
I don't know what metadata is.
Okay. Now you would agree with me, there's blobs on the picture and you can't tell what is in these blobs, wouldn't you? Would you like to see it?
Yes, I would like to
Okay.
see.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
You're familiar with Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so on the left side, on this side, this is the person that you're conversing with, correct?
Yes.
And then on right side is gonna be your responses, right?
Yes.
Okay, so all along here, these are just blobs, correct?
I don't see bulbs.
You don't see blobs?
No.
What can you make out on the right hand in these bubbles? In these circle bubbles?
I guess just the words. I can't see the.
No, I'm
bubbles.
not asking about the words. I'm asking about these circles specifically.
Not much.
You can't make out much, correct?
No.
Okay. Now, did you know that SAPD took custody of your phone?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as you know, this State's Exhibit 2, this did not come straight from your phone, correct?
Correct.
Now, do you know if San Antonio Police Department requested the records on your phone?
I don't know them.
Okay. And then your phone, that was actually, the owner of the phone was your mother, correct?
Yes.
And she signed the consent form for your phone for the officers to go into your phone.
Yes. So.
But all you have are State's Exhibit 2 to be able to show an alleged conversation between one blob and you, correct?
I guess.
Your Honor, do you want to do arguments outside the presence of the jury or right now?
Just one moment. Can I have parties approach? All right. Defense's objection to state's number 2 is sustained.
Ava, how did everything come out? Where were you doing the day that everything kind of blew up and everybody found out what was going on between you and Isaiah?
I was sitting on the couch in my living room watching TikTok.
Do you know about when this was?
Yeah. Um. It was around October.
Is it back still in 2020?
Yes.
It's okay. How did you first become alerted that something was going on?
Isaiah texted me.
What did he text you?
Circa knows, and she's telling our parents. Delete it.
What
Delete it. Told me to delete the conversations.
What did you do after you? How did you feel after you got that text from Isaiah?
Scared, and I deleted the conversations.
What conversations did you delete between you and Isaiah? Like on which apps?
I removed him and blocked him from my Snapchat and my Instagram and my number.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing?
My number.
Okay.
What did you do after that?
Sat and I waited, and my mom came in and she snatched my phone, and she let me know that Isaiah, and I quote, has been caught, and that I was in big trouble, and she stormed off.
How long between when Isaiah texted you saying that they knew and your mom snatching your phone? About how long?
I'd say about like an hour.
And by then you had already deleted everything, correct?
Yes.
Why did you delete it?
To protect him.
Why were you trying to protect Isaiah?
Because I didn't even process that it was that wrong.
Whenever you would stay with Circa and Isaiah, did you ever use their computers?
Yes, I used my sister for school.
Did you have your own computer?
No.
And at the time you were doing school online, correct?
Yes.
How often would you use Circa's computer?
Not super often, but if I was to stay a couple days, I did have to finish some homework.
What all things did you log into on Circa's computer?
I logged into TikTok and Google, email, and Instagram.
Why were you using her computer to log into like TikTok or Instagram?
I didn't have a phone at that point. I had gotten in trouble, so it was can't be on your phone for this week or maybe it. So I'd use my sister's computer when I was there.
So you had a phone, but sometimes you get it taken away for punishment. So you would use her computer, you're saying.
Yes.
Do you know if you ever, did you always log out whenever you were done using her computer, or did you just kind of close stuff out?
I'm not really sure.
So after your mom came and took your phone, did you tell any, like your mom what happened? Like what was your response to your mom coming and taking your phone?
I told her I would never do that and that it wasn't true.
You denied that anything was going on with you and Isaiah.
Yes.
Why did you deny it?
Because I'm embarrassed of my behavior, and I know I could have done more to prevent that.
What happened after you denied anything happened?
She showed me some proof that Circa said, and she admitted me to the hospital.
What hospital did she admit you to?
The San Antonio Behavioral Health.
Why were you admitted to San Antonio Behavioral Health?
Because I have a history of depression and self-harm.
Do you need a moment, Ava?
No.
How long were you there this time?
6 days.
While you were there, what were you having to do while you were at San Antonio Behavioral Health? Were you having to attend classes? Were you medicated? What were you having to do?
I was medicated for my sleep, but I was isolated.
What was your state of mind after all this was coming out and you're getting sent to San Antonio Behavioral Health?
I was upset that I was there, but I understood, and at that point, I deserved it. So
Why did you deserve it, Ava?
that was my sister, and I hurt my sister and my nephew.
How did you hurt them?
I broke their trust, the trust that they had.
And did you break it by having the sexual interactions with Isaiah?
Not reporting it when I could.
Did you finally admit to anyone that you had in fact been having a sexual relationship with Isaiah?
I think my mom, after a while, she told me she knew, and there's no point in lying.
So you finally admitted it.
Yes.
What happened next? Did you guys talk to the police? Who was like the next kind of interaction you had?
I had to go give a statement to police and put me in a little room on Zoom. They asked me a lot of questions.
And at any point, did you go to the hospital?
I believe so. I don't really remember.
Do you know if you ever talked to a doctor or a nurse about what happened?
Not a doctor or nurse, no.
After this happened, did your mom believe you? After you finally admitted it?
Yes.
And so, you're sitting here telling the jury that over the course of several months, you had multiple sexual instances with Isaiah Varju.
Yes.
I'm gonna pass the witness this time, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Ava, like I said, my name is Jessica Gonzalez. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Do you need a break before we start? No? Okay. All right, so I want to first focus on the time frame. You stated you moved to the San Antonio area in March of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in March of 2020, that was at the beginning of what we all refer to as the pandemic, correct?
Yes.
And at that time, you were living with your grandmother, right?
Yes.
And who else was in that house?
My sister Taylor, my brother Corey, and my parents,
Okay.
and my cousin from time to time.
What was his name? QL?
QL,
Okay.
Andreas.
And so there were several people in that home, right?
Yes.
And at that point in time in all of our lives, we couldn't go out. We weren't going to school. We weren't going over to a lot of different places. You were all stuck in the home, correct?
Yes.
And so at that point, you started going over to Circus House, correct?
Yes.
And you described sexual encounters with Isaiah. When would you say the first one was? In the indictment, it says June. Is that about correct?
No.
Okay. Is there a different date?
I'd say sometime in April.
You think it was in April?
Yes.
Why do you think it was in April?
Because it started before I was 15.
Okay. So you think it was in sometime in April, and actually in April of 2020, the entire county, Bear County, was on lockdown, wasn't it? Do you understand what I mean by lockdown?
No.
Okay. No businesses were open, or they were hardly open. No people were working, and everybody was in their homes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And also anywhere we went, we had to wear masks, correct?
Yes.
And so you said these encounters happened at your sister Circa's house, right?
Yes.
And you described several people that were always over there. It was my client Isaiah, Circa, Isaiah's brother Andrew, and then Nico, the 2-year-old, right?
Yes.
And is it fair to say Nico needed attention? He's a 2-year-old toddler. Is that a fair and accurate statement?
Yes.
And at this point in time, those weren't the only people that were at that house. Weren't there other people coming in and out?
Yes.
Who would, I'm sorry, who would always be there?
Many family members of my own, along
I'm sorry,
with
can you
some
repeat that?
many family members of my own, along
Okay.
with many of his as well.
Okay, so when you say many, are you talking about more than 2?
Yes.
Are you talking about more than 3?
On occasions, yes.
How about 4?
On occasions, yes.
Okay, so we're talking about several people inside the home, correct?
Yes.
Now, Circa was about 18 years old at this time, correct?
Circa?
Yes, Circa.
She was not 18 years old at that time, no.
How old was she?
She was 8 years older than me, so she was
Okay.
around 22.
Oh, 22. Now, you said that she was working and going to school at that time?
That's what I presume.
What do you mean by presume?
I don't know everything that's going on in her life at that point.
Okay. Actually, in this house, wasn't there a rule that anytime that you went over there, Circa had to be there?
Yes.
Okay. And that rule was there because you were making other people in the home uncomfortable. Isn't that correct?
Because I'm making other people in the home uncomfortable? No, that is not why that rule was placed there.
Okay, but there was that rule that Circa always had to be there, right?
Yes, which
And
is,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
which we had situationally bypassed a few times.
Okay, but for the most part, with it being the pandemic, she or another adult were always in this house.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what type of phone did you have back in 2020?
An iPhone 6?
An iPhone 6. And did you only have one phone?
Yes.
And I believe you stated on direct examination that when you would get in trouble, your parents would take away your phone, correct?
Yes.
And how is it that you would communicate with people when the phone was taken away?
Through other devices?
What sort of social media did you have access to?
All social media?
Yes, ma'am. Like, did you
All
have an
social media.
Instagram account
Yes. I have an Instagram and TikTok and a Snapchat.
and Snapchat? And then you also have, did you have Facebook?
Yes, but I've never logged in.
Okay, and then how many accounts did you have for Instagram?
One. At that point, I think I had about 2. One I had made probably a year prior.
Okay, and how many accounts did you have for TikTok?
1.
And how many did you have for Snapchat?
1.
And out of these, well, let me ask you this. Were there other social media platforms that I've forgotten?
No.
Okay. And how is it, did you and Isaiah communicate from what you remember?
Instagram and Snapchat.
Did you guys ever text message each other?
On occasion, but that was for more normal casual stuff. Nothing that would ever have to do with this.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump a little bit forward to, you said that Isaiah messaged you or texted you and told you to delete the conversations between you and Isaiah. Which one was it? Was that he texted you or did he message you?
I'm sorry, what's the difference?
Well, the difference being a text message would go straight through a texting application on your phone, just regular text messages. But a Facebook message or an Instagram message would go through, I think, what everybody refers to as DMs.
I believe it was on Snapchat.
So you're saying that he snapped you.
He texted me on Snapchat. It wasn't a picture or anything.
I apologize, I'm not very good at social media. So he using words, he told you through Snapchat to delete messages.
I believe it was Snapchat, but I'm not 100%.
Okay. Could it have been text messages?
It could have been, but I wouldn't put anything like that on text messages.
Now, let's go back to the first time. Okay, so let's not call it the first time. Let's go back to the time that you were describing that you had posted a picture of you in a sweater and he came home and you guys had oral sex in the dining room, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember when that happened?
No.
You don't remember any type of month?
April.
I'm sorry?
Around April.
And was it at night?
Yes. The whole interaction was night. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, the whole interaction was at night.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief break. There's something that I need to take up outside your presence. So I'm going to have you all come back at 4:15. Again, you are not allowed to do any investigation on this case. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. You're not allowed to watch anything. You're not allowed to deliberate internally or with each other. Does everyone understand? All right, thank you. Everyone, please rise for the jurors.
I'm not seeing anything regarding a relationship between us. I'm
Okay,
just seeing basic text messages.
okay. So are you writing your notes down? So our definitions of a relationship may be a little bit different, but you and Aiden are in communication consistently between this in 2020 with the brief periods of you getting your phone taken away. Is that a fair statement, a better statement?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. If there are no questions, I'll hear argument.
No questions, Your Honor.
I don't, if you can explain how this is relevant.
Well, it's relevant to us. So she has described a timeline of when alleged sexual encounters took place. And she's described it for the jury specifically over at the nighttime. I know it's a little bit hazy with exact timing.
Just 1 second. All right, if you could step down, please.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Just 1 moment. All right, yes. And we'll call the witness back. Oh, I'm sorry. She'll take you out. And if you need to take a restroom break or anything, of course you can.
Yeah, just go ahead and run back. Marina will take you.
Okay. I'll hear argument and you can remain seated.
Your Honor, well, first off, I'd like to say, I don't want to get into the sexual relationship that her and Aiden had. I understand unless she opens the door in some other way, there is no need to get into a sexual relationship. And even by what this witness was describing, I don't even think the line of questioning that I do want to get in with her even falls under 412 because I don't, she just said they didn't have a relationship. I described it as a relationship, but she said they didn't have a relationship. My point is what I want to get into with cross-examination is through the cell phone dump, I have information that shows that this complaining witness had been texting quite frequently in the overnight hours with this other person, Aiden. It is going against what she's describing as opportunity for her and Isaiah to be able to engage in the relationship that she's describing. And that's simply, I just did it out of an abundance of caution because I know this rule is a very sensitive and important rule. I didn't want to cross the line inadvertently, but I actually don't even think this falls under 412.
All right, so here's my question. So are you seeking to say that this is her boyfriend, or are you just wanting to get information from her, if it's correct, that during a certain time period, she was texting someone at night?
I would like the second one, Your Honor, but because the relationship was kind of unknown with me, I didn't want to cross that line inadvertently in case she described him as a boyfriend or in case I described it as a boyfriend.
All right. State, I don't see a problem if the answer that the witness is going to be given or what the defense is trying to ascertain from the witness is that during certain periods of the night, if it's true, I don't know, that she was messaging another person. And you have no intention to say this was boyfriend or this was the person she was having relations with. Is that correct?
I can avoid that.
All right. So if you'll avoid that, then state, I don't see an objection then to her asking the witness about the times of hours she was texting Aiden. And you can say the name Aiden, but we're not doing any type of relationship.
Okay, correct. Yeah, we would only start to have have questions if they were trying to get in the actual text, because we'd have different objections then, but yeah, no, this line of questioning is fine.
All right. So what I'll do is I know I told the jury 4:15, but if anybody needs to take a break, a short break, now's the time. And then we will come back and state how many more, well, Marina, how many more witnesses you all have, you think?
Just her, but we have 3 more after this.
Okay. All right. So we'll finish up with this witness today. And then tomorrow we'll finish up with your case.
What time are we gonna want to start tomorrow, just so we can inform our witnesses?
Tomorrow we'll be starting at 1:30.
You knew to ask Marina about the witnesses, right, Judge?
Yes.
Not us.
Hot bacteria.
We have the hiccups.
Ah, I'll start talking really, really fast.
So everyone,
Scary.
we're gonna finish this witness up today,
Yes.
and then tomorrow we'll begin at 1:30. And then we'll do closing on Friday if we're at that stage.
Your Honor, any possibility we can do the defense case Friday morning?
Oh, please have your witnesses here on Thursday, if you're calling witnesses.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. Oh, and we stand for you all, so when you come in, you can sit. All right. No. All right, defense, it's your cross.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Now, Ava, when we left off, we were talking, you had an iPhone back in 2020, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember when you got your iPhone?
I received it as a hand-me-down from my grandpa in December 2019,
So you'd had it for a significant time, correct?
about 5 months.
And you said it was an iPhone 6 series, right?
Yes.
Now, when something was going on, your mother immediately took away your iPhone, right?
Yes.
Now, do you remember what day all of this came out, what day of the week?
No.
Do you remember where you were?
At my house.
You were at your house when this happened?
Yes.
Who all was there with you?
My brother and my parents.
So your mother was home?
Yes.
And where were you when your mother got the phone call about what was going on?
In the living room on the couch. I was in the living room on the couch watching TV.
Okay. And do you remember, is this in morning, afternoon, or night?
I think it was middle of the day.
Middle of the day. And then, so your mother comes in the room and she immediately takes away your phone, correct?
Yes.
Does she have the password to your phone?
No.
So the only person that has access to your phone is you
Yes, for about 2 hours.
for about 2 hours. What do you mean by that?
I gave them the password to my phone.
You eventually gave them the password.
Yeah.
So how long did it take between you getting the messages from Isaiah that you claim that you got until your mother came in and took away the phone?
I think around an hour.
Now, you use this phone pretty often, correct?
Yes.
Except for the times where you had your phone taken away, right?
Yes.
And you used it for all of your different social media accounts, right?
Yes.
And who else would you talk to using your phone?
Everybody I know?
Okay, does that include Aiden?
Yes.
And does that include your best friend Cassie, I believe you called her?
Yes.
And any of your other friends, you would use your phone to be able to communicate with them?
Yes.
Now, back in the spring, when you said that this relationship was allegedly going on between you and Isaiah, you were in constant communication with Aiden, weren't you?
Yes.
What different ways did you guys communicate?
Through text message, Google Duo, and Snapchat.
Now, with the text message, well, let me ask you this way. Did you ever lose your phone at a certain time at night and you could no longer talk on your phone?
No,
So you would be, is it fair to say that you would be messaging or communicating with Aiden through all hours of the night?
no, he worked a steady job. He'd go to sleep
Okay.
early.
Do you remember when I just showed you the messages?
Yes,
Okay, did you happen to see the times that they were happening?
no,
Okay. Would it sound correct to you that some of these messages were happening well after midnight? Would that be correct?
yes,
Some of these messages would be happening at 3 o'clock in the morning.
yes.
Hang on one second. These messages sometimes would go into 6 a.m. in the morning, right?
I guess so.
So it's fair to say you were talking to Aiden a lot throughout the evening. And then please explain to me, what is Google Duo?
It's a FaceTime app.
And so you would actually be video with this other person, right?
Yeah,
So he could see what you're around.
no, my camera was always off
So then what's the point of FaceTime?
because it was the only way we could call on his phone because he didn't have a proper phone number for a while. So sometimes we text when he could change the SIM card. But other times it was just mom's computer. His mom's computer.
Okay, so, but you said that he couldn't see because you'd have your video off,
Yes,
but he could hear you, right?
yes.
Now, hang on one second. Now, you stated that Isaiah would bring you pods for the vape.
Yes,
You were insinuating that those were the gifts he was giving you in exchange for the sexual relationship. That's what you're
No.
trying to say, right?
no, it wasn't.
Okay, so he would just bring you vape pods?
Yes,
Did you ask him for them?
yes, occasionally, sometimes no.
Okay, how would you ask for him?
I text him, say, hey, can you give me some new pods?
Now, let's talk about Circa. You said she was 22 years old, right?
Around there, I believe.
And a lot of the times, because of the rule, she was in the home when you were there.
Yes,
How is it that you guys were alone if Circa's there?
so all of the bedrooms, like I stated previously, are upstairs. And I did not have a bedroom there. So a lot of the time I'd stay up real late downstairs by myself.
Okay, so, but nobody else that's in this crowded home would be downstairs during this time.
No,
It just so happened that you guys were by yourself.
it was late at night.
Excuse me, just one moment. Sir, you need to put your phone on silent or either you need to leave the courtroom. All right, you may continue.
So you described that this happened on the couch and that there was touching over the clothes. When did that incident happen?
The same night, those text messages were exchanged
The text messages on your phone,
on Snapchat.
on Snapchat.
Yes, when he had slid up on the jacket picture.
What does slid up on the jacket picture mean?
It's kind of like a comment, but it's personal when one person you're sending it to see.
Okay, and this is on your Snap, and when you posted it, and pardon me if I'm not using the right word, but when you posted it, were you using your cell phone?
Yes,
And so you said he comes home and you guys have a sexual encounter in the home. Do you remember about what time at night it was?
no,
Was it around the time that you were talking with Aiden?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So, and then the second time is when you guys had sex in the bathroom, is that correct?
I believe so.
And that was the bathroom upstairs, right?
Yes.
Next to all of the bedrooms where everybody was in the bedrooms.
No, at that point, only his brother was home.
Okay, and who is his brother?
I'm not sure. I didn't see him once. He was in the room literally all the time.
Okay, so, but there's another person in the house, and how far away is the bedroom from the bathroom?
About like, because I know inside, I'm sorry, I know inside of the room, there was like about a room and a bathroom away from our bathroom. 'Cause his door is at the end of his room, and then the bathroom was at the end of his long room.
Okay, and describe to the jury what the bathroom looked like.
It was a toilet and a shower and another door. And I don't believe there was a door on it at that point, but it was the hinges for another door and then the sink area with some closet space behind it.
So there's
It's more like shelving area.
So there was an open door to the bath.
I'm sorry?
You said that there was a door, but the door wasn't on it, just the hinges.
Yeah, it's like just like where the toilet is and the shower, like just fits that. There's
Okay.
nothing else in there.
How narrow is this bathroom?
Not super narrow. There's some like cabinetry behind the sink area, so it kind of makes that a little larger.
Okay, are there rugs in this bathroom?
I believe there were some rugs at the time, yes.
Okay, a little trash can on the floor?
I'm not sure. I know there was a jewelry closet thing. It's like a little thing, there's a mini closet and a jewelry in it, and it's sitting behind us.
Okay, were there anything, any toiletry items on the countertop?
Yes, there's Nikolai's toothbrush.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Nikolai's toothbrush
Is that the only thing that was on there?
is the only thing I remember.
Okay, was there anything about hand soap, lotions?
I believe there was some lotion and hair products, some leave-in conditioner.
Was Nikolai still, in diapers at that time?
Yes, I use in diapers all the time.
Was this predominantly Nico's bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in there for Nikolai.
No, there wasn't a lot of toys in there or anything. It was circuit keeps it clean.
Is it Circa's bathroom?
Yes, it was circuit and a shared bathroom upstairs.
So it's 2.5 people share this bathroom.
Yes,
So is it fair to say there's a lot of items that are around the bathroom?
yes.
Now, you're saying that Circa wasn't home?
No, she was not home.
Where was she?
I'm not sure.
Well, this was at night.
No, the bathroom encounter was during the day.
Do you remember giving a statement to the forensic interviewer?
Yes, and I was very early on and I wasn't as honest as I could have been. I was new and I had already been telling them it didn't happen in the first place. So I was very hesitant to tell them any information about what had been going on.
You were very hesitant.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. How many times have you come in and spoken to the district attorney's office about your case?
I don't know who the district attorney is.
The district attorney's office is these people sitting at this table, and then there's also Marina, who's sitting right back here.
Like coming in person and talk to them?
How many times have you come in person and spoken to the district attorney's office about your case?
I don't think I have.
You don't think you have?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
Have you ever watched your forensic interview?
No.
So why is it that you think you are not telling the truth at your forensic interview?
Because I kept a lot of the details hidden. Like when they asked me how many times I took the number down. Stuff like that.
Okay, but you actually described in great detail the encounters between you and Isaiah.
The encounters that I did tell them about, yes, I did describe in detail.
Okay. Now, would it surprise you to know that there are differences in what you're saying today to this jury and what you described to the interviewer?
No, it would not surprise me. It's been 4 years.
Okay, and so it's fair to say you haven't watched it and you haven't watched it at all.
I haven't watched it at all.
And your testimony is that you've never spoken with the district attorney's office.
No, my testimony is I don't remember if I've spoken with the district attorney's office.
I apologize. You don't remember if you've spoken to the district attorney's office. Now, you also gave another interview to the nurse who did an examination on you. Do you remember that?
I don't even remember getting this information. A lot of that part, I don't remember a lot of that entire year.
Okay, so do you remember that statement?
No.
And the prosecutors never let you read that statement?
No.
Your Honor, may I reapproach?
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right, everyone, please be seated. And defense, we're still on cross. You may proceed.
Thank you. Now, Ava, we were talking about whether or not you'd reviewed your statements that you gave during this investigation. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And aside from talking to the therapist at the hospital and aside from talking to Circa and your mother, you made two statements to two types of investigators, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you gave a statement to the forensic interview. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember when you gave that statement?
Yes.
Okay, just for the jury, so they know how long ago it was. When did you give that statement?
November 2020.
Okay, so almost immediately after this revelation came out, right?
Yes.
Now, the events happened allegedly in early 2020, correct?
Yes.
And so when you gave the statements to those two individuals, that was a closer in time frame, right?
Yes.
And you said you were hesitant in revealing information because you were scared, right?
Yes.
But you did go into specifics about the things that you did disclose, didn't you?
Yes.
For instance, you told these two individuals, or I'm sorry, you told the forensic exam interviewer that the first occurrence happened in the summer. Do you remember that?
I was unsure whether it was the summer or the end of my school year because in Canada, summer school does go until the end of June rather than the end of May. But I do know now that it did happen before that because it happened before my birthday, which is that beach incident on my 15th. And that's May 21st of 2020.
But you never shared that information with that interviewer, did you?
No,
Okay, and you never talked about a beach incident, did you?
no,
And when you spoke with I mean, you just watched the statement, correct?
yeah,
And when you spoke with them, you were vague, but you were also very, very specific as how you remember that this all occurred in June and July. Isn't that correct? When you spoke with the forensic examiner,
yes,
you said
Well,
that
I
it
spoke
happened
with them.
at the end of the school year. Let's back up. When the forensic interviewer was talking to you, you first stated you don't remember when the second encounter happened, but you remember the first one because it was the first time.
yes,
Isn't that correct?
yes,
And then the interviewer went on to help you try to remember when it happened. And during that conversation, you were very specific and said it happened at the end of the school year in June and July. That's what you told the examiner, isn't it?
yes, I said I think June or July.
Okay. And the reason this is very important, like we've already discussed, your cell phone was recovered by San Antonio Police Department, correct?
Yes,
So any of these things that you're alleging should be evidence in your phone. Isn't that correct?
I suppose,
Okay.
I'm unsure.
You're unsure because you're not an expert, right?
No, because can you word that differently?
Well, I'm saying you're unsure on what would be on your phone because you're not an expert.
Yes,
Okay.
no,
Go ahead.
I was asking you to repeat the previous statement.
Okay, well, and then let's talk about some of the other details. Is you stated that all of the flirtation that happened between you and Isaiah started with pictures that you were either posting on different social media or you were sending to Isaiah. Isn't that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that entire question?
You were testifying, and you also stated in your interview that the flirtatious conversations between you and Isaiah would start because of pictures you posted on Snapchat, I believe you said.
I object to compound question at this point, Judge.
All right, that'll be overruled.
So the flirtatious conversations between you and Isaiah started with with pictures you either posted on social media or text messages that you sent to Isaiah.
Those encounters, yes. Not all, but those.
Not all, but the ones that we're talking about, it started with that, right?
Yes.
And how would you take pictures?
I'm sorry.
How do you take pictures? What device do you use to take pictures?
The phone,
Any phone or your phone?
my phone.
So your phone that went into SAPD custody, correct?
Yeah.
And then also to communicate with those messages, that would be recorded on your phone.
Yes.
And then also if you're posting through Snapchat or whatever the language is on Snapchat, that was also done on your phone.
Yes.
So if it happened, it would be on your phone.
Yes. Pictures, but not the texting, like I said.
As far as you know, correct?
Yes.
But an expert would be able to come in and testify to this jury as to whether or not messaging can be recovered through Snapchat.
I object to speculation and her lack of knowledge, Judge.
All right, if you could re-ask your question, please.
Yes. You do not know what can be recovered from social media, in particular Snapchat. Correct?
Technically, no. I'm sure they can.
You don't think it can be recovered through Snapchat. Let me ask it that way. You don't think this can be recovered through Snapchat.
I'm sure it can.
You're sure it can?
Yes.
So you know it's,
asking if I believe that it can or cannot be recovered from Snapchat?
yes.
Yes, I do believe that it can.
Okay.
Snapchat is not a secure site at all.
Okay. Why do you choose to use Snapchat?
I don't anymore, but then that was the most popular form of social media for my age.
Okay, and that was because parents couldn't find out what kids were talking about on Snapchat, right?
That, as long as having streaks and watching people's stories and saving pictures on that app, is pretty the main reason I have that. I moved a lot, so pictures.
Okay. Is Circa coming in to testify?
No,
Does Circa live here in San Antonio, Texas?
I believe so. I don't know.
She's your sister.
That is a true statement.
Okay. Are you still in communication with her?
No,
Now, but she was allegedly present around during this entire time frame when you and Isaiah were allegedly having this relationship.
yes,
So she would be a witness to be able to testify as to what she saw happening between the two of you.
not any more than anybody else could have. We were not doing anything in front of anybody.
Okay,
There was no obvious signs.
but she was the one that discovered the alleged conversation between you and Isaiah.
Yes,
Okay, so she would be able to testify as to what she saw when she discovered the relationship.
if she would like to.
Okay, so she would actually be a critical witness in this case to
I
verify
object
what
to
you're saying.
speculation and legal conclusion, Judge.
Sustained.
Now, one moment, Your Honor. When you went into the hospital, did you want to be there?
No,
The statements that you made that led your mama to take you to the hospital, did you say those seriously or did you say it jokingly?
I don't know what statements I made, which to you are referring.
Well, let me ask you this. Why did your mother take you to the hospital and admit you into the hospital?
Because I have had a history of mental illness and self-harm, and she was concerned for my well-being if I was gonna do something to myself.
Okay, but you stated you did not want to be there, right?
I did not.
And at this point in time, during the time frame of everything, you're denying any relationship between you and Isaiah.
Yeah, at this point, I just told my mom, and
You had just told your mom or you were denying it?
I denied it as soon as she brought it up, like the day of and everything.
Okay,
But there was no denying what she had on her phone and could see right in front of her.
okay, when did she show you those messages?
She didn't show me them at all. She told me she had them. I didn't see anything.
So you didn't see the pictures that we just showed you?
No, I didn't see anything till. I'm sorry, what picture did you show me?
Do you remember, it was States Exhibit 1? 2, I'm sorry, do you remember looking at States Exhibit 2? You want me to show you again?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that up here, maybe?
Oh, wait. Here you go, Jessica. Sorry, there's one
It's
at the
okay.
bottom.
It's that white sticker. Ava, I'm handing you what's previously been marked as States Exhibit 2. Okay, do you remember the prosecutor asking you about those?
The prosecutor is.
The prosecutor Ally Jackson right there.
Yes.
So you remember the prosecutor handing you those?
Yes.
Is that the first time you're seeing those pictures, or did your mother show you those pictures when all of this came out?
My mom did not show me this.
Okay.
Other than living it, this is the first time I've seen.
Okay. And isn't it true that your mother told you you would not be released from the hospital until you admitted to the relationship?
Yes, I do think so.
She did threaten you with that, didn't
It
she?
wasn't really sorry, it was motivation, but yes.
As motivation to admit to a story like this.
She just wanted the truth. She asked me to tell the truth.
Ava, Isaiah, you're saying that Isaiah contacted you when everything came out and told you to delete messages, correct?
I believe so. He did text me, and I do believe that it said delete everything. Is what it said.
Okay, but you don't remember if he sent you an Instagram message in a word form or if he sent you text messages?
I can't remember if it went on Snapchat or on my text message.
Okay, but you're saying you received that from Isaiah.
Yes.
Now, at this point in time, are you in front of a computer or do you have your cell phone?
I have my phone.
Okay, and is this when you're on the couch in the living room?
Yes, I was sitting there watching TikTok.
Okay, so you're on your phone, and what do you do next when you receive this from Isaiah?
Well, he had told me that, I had left my Instagram logged in on Circus computer.
Okay,
So I went into my Instagram, deleted the chat, and then logged myself out of her computer from my phone. And then I went and I removed everything else and anything that had anything to do with the situation.
so I know it sounds crazy, and it may be because I don't understand all this stuff, but you're for certain you were on your cell phone, your iPhone 6 series, when you went into your Instagram account and deleted these messages.
Yeah.
And again, just to clarify, it is the cell phone that your mother took away from you and took into SAPD and gave to SAPD.
Yes.
When did Circa see these messages?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember about what time you got the message from Isaiah?
No.
Was it morning,
I
afternoon,
have
or
no idea.
evening?
I know it was day out, but that's all. I don't know what time.
And from the best of your knowledge, it was obviously sometime before you deleted the messages. You know Circa saw them before Isaiah
Yes.
texted you.
Yes. I'm sorry, before Isaiah texted me, not before Isaiah texted me, I didn't know anything was going on before Isaiah texted me.
But what I'm saying is Circa saw any Instagram messages before Isaiah talked to you.
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled. You can answer if you know the answer.
You're asking,
I'm asking if Circa saw the messages, the Instagram messages between you and Isaiah before Isaiah texted you to delete the messages.
I presume so, I have no personal idea, I don't know, but I presume that's what happened.
1 second. Just for clarification, when you said that you got onto your Instagram account and you logged Circa out, did you log her out from your phone or from a different computer?
I logged her out from my phone, cause I was on my phone, I don't have access to another computer outside of Circle computer.
Okay. Couple more questions. How was it that you were messaging with your best friend from Canada, Cassie?
Snapchat?
You messaged her through Snapchat?
Mhm.
Did you ever message her through any other platform?
Yeah, I've messaged Cassie through every platform there is that I have.
So text messages?
Yep, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat.
Now specifically, you said that you were messaging Cassie about the relationship with you and Isaiah, correct?
I did talk to her about it, yes.
Okay, and what platform or what method of communication were you talking with Cassie?
Most of the time it was FaceTime, whenever I was talking to her about stuff like that. But when I did talk about her, I think it was on Snapchat. But it was like the picture snaps, not the text message snaps.
I'll pass the witness.
State.
Thank you, Judge. Just gonna go over a few more questions that I have, okay, Ava? Now, you talked about this rule with the defense attorney about how another adult always had to be home. Did another adult always have to be there when you were, or just only Circa had to be there when you were there?
My mom's rule was kind of like, it kind of had to be a female to be there. But I mean, considering the household that they were living in, Circa was the only female at the time, so those rules were bent a lot. And a few weeks before everything had come out, my mom and Isaiah had actually had a conversation about that exact topic. And it was just very aware that that clearly hadn't been the rules that had been followed the whole time I'd been there.
Okay, so this wasn't Circa's
It wasn't
rule.
an expectation of me being there at all.
Okay, so this wasn't Circa's rule, this was your mom's rule?
This is my mom's rule. Yes, sorry.
Okay. And then just to kind of clarify, I mean, I grew up texting with all the apps. We have a wide range of ages on the jury pool. When you use the word text or message, do you use them interchangeably or do you mean them for specific apps that you're using?
Interchangeably.
So it would be fair to say that you could say you were texting Cassie, but you were in fact just sending her a message on Snapchat and not just the texting.
Yes.
You also were questioned by Ms. Gonzalez about the fact that you would often stay up super late, sometimes all night texting with other people, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just to be clear, every single night that you spent over at Circus, did you stay up all night, every night, not getting any sleep, texting people?
Of course not.
But you just did text often.
Yes.
And you stated during your testimony that, you know, the sexual encounters with Isaiah, they happened multiple times, correct?
Yes.
But they weren't every day, every night that you came over,
Of
correct?
course not. He was gone for work a lot of the time, so he wasn't even home for about like weeks at a time. So it wasn't like I even saw him or talked to him every single day.
When you were sending, you know, risque photos and stuff like that, would you save them onto your phone or would you just load them onto Snapchat? How were you doing these?
It was just in that one picture, it wasn't really saved, anything was sent and never thought about it.
Okay, so when you take a picture for Snapchat, just kind of for clarification, do you take the picture within the app and then it just doesn't get saved to your phone, or do you take the picture on your phone where it's kind of saved like in your iPhotos and then you upload to Snapchat? How are you doing that?
So if you, I would take the pictures in Snapchat, and then if, when you save those pictures to the app itself, you can go in and export the picture or video, and that will go to your camera roll.
Okay, were you saving these photos to your camera roll or were you just having them sent?
I was just sending them, I wasn't saving them to my camera roll, they may have been saved to my Snapchat memories, but other than that, not my camera.
Now, there's a few more questions. You talked kind of in detail, and I don't want to kind of rehash everything. But just to be clear for everyone, did Isaiah touch your breasts?
Yes,
Did he touch your genitals or any part of them?
yes,
Did you perform oral sex on Isaiah?
yes,
And did you have sexual intercourse with
Yes.
Isaiah? Now, defense asked you about your sister Circa and that you don't talk. Why don't you and Circa talk?
because of the situation.
How has it affected your relationship with Circa? Did she believe you?
No, my sister, I talked to her one time after everything happened, and all she did was ask me if it was true.
What did you tell her?
I told her yes, and I was sorry, and I was selfish, and that's it.
Why did you apologize to Circa?
Because I'm sure there's more I could have said in that situation for myself.
You talked earlier about feeling guilty. You feel guilt for kind of putting Circa through this by entering in that sexual relationship with Isaiah.
Yes,
Have you been able to see where you said that you also babysat Nico, right? Have you been able to see Nico since this happened?
no,
Do you miss him?
yes.
Ask the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from the state, Your Honor.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
All right. That means that you need to make sure that you're available if either party wishes to recall you to testify. Do you understand? All right, you may step down. Yes, if you'll be right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these are your instructions. I'm going to say these instructions each time I let you leave, so it's going to be engraved on you. You are not allowed to discuss this case with anyone. You're not allowed to start deliberating in your own mind about this case. You're not allowed to talk to each other about this case. You're not allowed to watch anything. If you happen to see something, turn it off. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, we can go off the record. So we are going to be back here starting up tomorrow at 1:30. There are going to be jurors that have been called down for Thursday. So the number of jurors that you saw when you were first called down this morning, that's how many jurors are going to be called down for Thursday. Everybody who works in this building in the jurors park at the parking garage. Now, during the lunchtime, people, I like to call it going off campus. People usually would go off campus for lunch. So if you are here by 12:15 or 12:30, there'll probably be some parking spaces that are open up for you. So that's probably a good time to pull in to make sure you have a space. Does everyone understand? I have no control over the temperature in this courtroom. The thermostat that you see back there, it's a placebo. I can, if it will make you feel better, if you're hot and you want me to turn it down, I will, but it does absolutely nothing. But sometimes people do say it's cold in here. So if you want to bring a jacket, you're more than welcome to bring a jacket. I always say it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, because we have no jackets for you in the back. I understand that the seats are uncomfortable. We do have pillows in the back. I'm slowly buying pillows. They're very expensive. But if you would like to bring a pillow from home, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want to bring a drink, you're more than welcome to do so. Just sort of make sure it has a cap on it, because we're trying to keep the room as clean as possible. Whenever you need a break, just do the break sign. I'll see it, or either the deputies will see it, or believe it or not, Diana will see it. So with that being said, any questions? All right, I'll see you all back here tomorrow at 1:30, and we cannot start unless everybody's here, okay? Yes,
So we don't have to come in for 1:30.
yes.
Oh,
What usually happens is you'll get one at the end, but if there is some issue with your employer, because you're allowed to be on jury duty, nobody can fire you for coming in for jury duty. If there's an issue with your employer, you have the number where you can call in, they can call the court, or either we can give you a letter. All right, anything else? All right, I will see you all tomorrow at 1:30. Thank you.
Oh.